try and get up there for the sprint. And talking about getting up there, all the teams are trying to position their main men at the front. It's very difficult to move up as this road slings and left and right, winds its way down the mountainside. Rowan Dennis last year, if you remember in Parakan, where he ended up winning, he was really quite a long way back as they turned onto that climb. Not really a master of finding his way through the bunch. He's a little bit hesitant, so he may have his work cut out to move back up through the bunch on this final climb.
Well, there's a little bit of a rush coming on there from the front as well, as we see riders now packing on the right from Team Tinkoff. And Adam Blythe has been sprinting very, very well. And if they feel, off the road goes a rider from Trek and slaps his brakes on. He's got out of it well. He's okay.
That's exactly what Robbie was talking about. Everybody now is trying to move up to the front end of the main field. And you've got to take risks.
That's the penalty, though, because that's a puncture for Keel Ryan, the American sprinter here.
Well, he doesn't look very happy about that. I didn't see how he came off the road, but the problem is at the side of the road there's a lot of gravel, so you hit that at high speed and you get an impact puncture.
And it's quite possibly punctured before, and then that caused him to go off the road. Quite a shame for Keel Ryan, because he's a guy who stood a really good chance of doing something on this finish. Looks like he's possibly even got a double puncture there. As we go back to the replay, see if we can see anything at all to give us a clue. But pretty much he just shoots out. He's already had it locked up as he hit the gravel.
Yes.
And it's a great save. I've got to give him that. It's a fantastic save. Almost all the way into the bushes.
The Californian, he comes from Colorado. Keel's a good guy, and he's got his big chance this year on a major World Tour team. And he'll be unhappy with that, but there'll be better days for him, I'm sure.
You look there, that was a double puncture. He's had both wheels changed there.
Yeah, but as I say, you know, when you see a rider recover from an accident like that, we're getting the last 5 kilometre average speed check coming, 49.5 kilometres now. It's amazing, Robbie, because that exit from the road there is something that you can't practice, but you get that knack. It's a survival instinct.
It's a survival instinct, absolutely. It's self-preservation. You just do anything and everything you can to hold it up. And he was moving at a good 50 kilometres an hour there when he left the road, completely locked up at the back. And he made it look fairly straightforward and simple, but I'm not so sure he's going to be able to make his way back to the peloton at this point in the race. He's already back next to the team car. Possibly another problem with the bike.
No chance. Not at speeds like this. Not at 11 kilometres to go to the finish. 8 of those kilometres uphill. I think it's job done for Keel Ryan for the day. But watch for that name, because we saw him riding exceptionally well last year and previous years as well in the USA Pro Challenge in the United States.
Peloton steadily regrouping. Some of the riders who have tired have come back onto the tail. Pace has slowed down, and they're rethinking what to do now, because they know the only challenge is the 7 kilometre climb up to the finishing line. That's where it's got to happen now. They've got to weaken the sprinters in this group on that climb. There are some good climber sprinters like Lobato, who won here last year.
Well, for one or two guys who are slightly good sprinters who can hang on to the climb, they'll be starting to feel a little bit inspired now. They're still in contact with 10 kilometres to go. It all really, Robbie, depends, as far as I'm concerned, on how fast they go up this final climb. There's the banner indicating the final 10 kilometres of today's stage.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it's not a very, very difficult climb, but it just depends on how fast they ride it. And if the pure climbers want to put Simon Gerrans under pressure, prevent him taking more seconds, they're going to have to make the entire climb as hard as possible. They're going to have to sacrifice some teammates. There's a number of teams with strong climbers who have the capability to do that. If we look at the Lamprey team, they've got a number of strong riders for the climb. They may rely on Diego Ulissi to win the stage again like he has in the past, but they've got Menkes. They've also got the Portuguese, the Slovenian riders, Kump and Pibernik. They're quite handy uphill. They can lift that pace and put everyone under pressure.
Have a chance now to look at the heart rate there, and Nathan Early's up to 170 beats a minute. It is now, I can tell you from experience, it's very, very difficult once your heart rate gets up to 170, so the pressure is really seriously on.
We just saw the face there on Michael Hepburn at the front. That was hurting that little climb there.
And the wattage, Phil, sorry to interrupt, but these are interesting figures there. His wattage there was touching 700. That's really getting right high as they roll over these final little inclines now before they line themselves up for the final climb of the day.
9.6 kilometre, about 2 kilometres then, slightly more before we descend to that sharp left-hander, and then it's 7 kilometres up to the finishing line. 1849. This is the best diet you can have, Paul. Ride the Tour Down Under. All those calories that they burned for Nathan Earl today. The peloton racing towards the bend that matters, and then it's everybody accelerating. When you go round that bend, the boys at the back are going to be under so much pressure just to hold the tail of the peloton.
Look at the speed, though. We've seen the average speeds at 49 and a half kilometres an hour, but there, as they rush down this descent, they're lining themselves up for that nasty little corner. Tour Down Under 2016. Well, the artists are at the side of the road making us very welcome in South Australia, but the speed now is requiring a lot of concentration. A couple of tricky corners now. Another team starting to take a bit of interest in the front end of the main field is Giants Alpecin.
Well, they have Simon Geschke here, the man with the beard, stage winner in last year's Tour de France. So they'll be relying on him. He said this morning he'd like to try and ride for the general classification. So they're positioning him at the front. One of the riders helping him do that would be Kunde as they hit that left-hander. This is it. They've bottomed out. This is the end of the downhill, and it's all up from here.
And let's hope they're all going to get round it. They look as though they are safely around that corner. Alpecin has got themselves onto the front here and setting the pace. Kunde is the man setting it. As we look round now, and it looks as though Jack Bobridge in the champions jersey of Australia, those yellow sleeves, is also thinking of something.
You can see the urgency now in the pedalling style of all of these riders. I always think that Tinkoff look very dangerous when they get themselves massed to the front like that. They're in the lime green jerseys in the second row when we start to talk about rugby terms, and slipping off the back. Well, job done for the day. Michael Hepburn, what a strong, powerful man, and Luke Durbridge. They've spent a lot of their time on the front end of the main field this afternoon, but these are the nervous moments. These are the moments when you've got to hang on to that position. You've got to try and push yourself a little bit further if you can, because you want to hold your team leader up to the front end of the main field. Number 4 there on the left-hand side of the road, by the way. Very difficult to get used to him in a red and black jersey of Team BMC, having ridden in the black jersey of Team Sky for so many years. Richie Porte.
Port's moved back up. I have a feeling he may have had a problem, but he's coming back up towards the front now. Rowan Dennis also. Now the riders whose jobs are done are flying off. Christophe Riblon, once won a stage up the Alpe d'Huez in the Tour de France, has gone, and so too has gone here Tyler Farrer, the sprinter, who should be thinking of leading out Reini Janse van Rensburg for the victory. Team Sky penetrating on the right. They're all trying to get a luck in now.
Well, they're all trying to hold their positions, but it's a horrible climb, this, isn't it, Robbie? Because it's the same gradient the whole way through. There is not one part of this climb, apart from when you go through the little village up towards the top, where you get some respite.
Hey, Renshaw's gone.
Yes, it's all very steady gradient for the most part, with some steep little kickers in it. You've got to get quite a way up the climb before there's any respite, a small flat section, and before that little dive down, just over 2 kilometres to go. And this is that moment where we say, well, the back door is open. We'll see riders just slipping out the back as Sky now go to the front and increase the pressure. That's Luke Rowe that's now on the front. Tucked in behind him 4 of his teammates. They're just increasing the pace. Jesse Sargent, too much for him, the Kiwi. He's also out the back.
Let's look at the face of Team Sky here. This could be they're trying to deliver Geraint Thomas in the white sunglasses to the line. Maybe Peter Kenya could have a dig in the white jersey. They are all Team Sky now, the first 5 riders there. And they're all looking to see who else is about to come up as they're one by one. This is Kunde who's now cracked it. A great piece of pace-making at the front, possibly for Simon Geschke.
Well, now it's Ian Stannard on the front, a former British national champion, a big powerhouse of a man. They certainly are doing some serious damage at the back end of the peloton.
Well, Michael Valgren just went out the back, and I thought they were working for him to win the day, but he's gone as he's been left there by his team, and now we're seeing the debris on the road, one by one.
Sprinters going out. I just spotted Ben Swift slipping backwards. Now that looks, all of a sudden, it appears there's a slight problem there. Well, no, that's Stannard. He's switched off the front. It is Geraint Thomas who's moved up into 4th position there.
Caleb Ewan also in trouble, looking for wheels to try and grab them. He's not expecting to win this. He knows what his team plan is now. He's had his day. He's had his glory. it will see more of him, but not today.
And there he goes out the back under the pressure of Team Sky. Still Luke Rowe on the front. Geraint Thomas in second position, followed by Peter Kenyok. Behind in last position is the little Colombian Henao, Sergio Henao, one of the big favourites for this race. His teammates have been talking about him. He's in good shape. He's been training in Colombia at altitude. He is one of the big favourites, and they're trying to make it very, very hard to put guys like Gerrans and Ulissi under pressure.
Well, for the people, sorry, Phil, the people who like the information coming through, you can bet your bottom dollar here that these guys at Team Sky are riding at a steady output of wattage of around about 450 to 470 watts at the moment, and that is going to eliminate a lot of riders. The first guys have sat up, they know they've got no chance at all. But if you look at the faces of the other riders now, they're all in serious difficulty just trying to stay in contact. Team Sky have decided this is the moment when we'll try and make a decision. But Robbie, have they gone too soon?
Well, only time will tell, Paul, but what it certainly is doing is it's eliminating a lot of guys out of the field. And like we said before, they've got to try and burn the legs of the faster guys. It gives the pure climbers more of a chance to be at the front end when they get to that last 300 metres and try and grab those bonus seconds. If they've gone too early, well, hard to know, but just under 500 watts at the moment from Sam Spokes. If you could maintain 500 watts all the way up this climb, then I'll tell you what, straight in the World Tour for anyone that can do that.
He's riding right at the front, Sam Spokes, and that's very good for the Jetpack boy. He's got good form. As we're now looking at the riders, this is the difference that when you get to a World Tour level of cycling, these boys simply hit the watts and blow out everybody. They destroy the talents of the sprinters, and this will be a different bike race. This is all about time now. Time gain that could lead to the winner on Sunday of the Santos Tour Down Under. It's only 10 seconds for the winner, but the race last year was won by 2. Ian Stanley's done his job for Team Sky. He's just hanging on the back now. Yeah,
well, to retain that name for when we go further north, back into the Northern Hemisphere for races like the Het Nieuwsblad, the race around Ghent, and then, of course, Paris-Roubaix and the Tour of Flanders. It's a little bit of respite now. I can also see a number of jerseys from Dimension Data coming to the front. They'll be looking after Cam Meyer. He's a new rider on their block. Over on the right-hand side, you've got the lime green jerseys of Cannondale. Everybody's scrambling. Everybody's just trying to keep their designated rider up towards the front end of the pack.
Well, Sky maybe did think they'd gone a little bit too soon because they've pulled themselves away off the front. They're still at the front, but not on the front forcing the pace. It's now up to Cannondale, led by Simon Clark, the Australian. He's there as team captain, but you see the pace has definitely gone off. They're still pushing very hard, but it's not under the impetus of Sky anymore, which had a lot of riders in trouble.
Well, it's not as if they didn't know how long this climb was. 7.5 kilometres to the top. They've done it enough times today, 5 so far. This is the 6th and last time up the hill.
Yes, but look, Phil, at how many riders there are in the dark blue jersey with the M on the back for Team Movistar. They're just hovering there. They're sitting and waiting. They know that once the road widens out a fraction, they can take control of this and move their man. I think today it will be Lobato up towards the front end of the main field.
Most the wild man of Giant Alpecin who's come up on the right now. Simon Geschke in that beard. I thought he might have been training for the win, but it looks like he's got hopes to bring a teammate to the fore just now.
Yes, and that's Tobias Ludvigsson, the Swede. And Geschke did say this morning, Ludvigsson is in very good shape at the moment. And he said either one of us could have a go for the GC. He said, but I really honestly think Ludvigsson is a little bit better than me at the moment, so I could possibly be working for him. And that's what we're exactly seeing at the moment. Ludvigsson, the tall Swede, in second position on the right in the black, the Giant Alpecin colours, but still it's Cannondale in the bright green forcing the pace on the right hand side of the road.
Watch out for number 1. He carries number 1, Rowan Dennis, because he won the race 1 year ago. For him it was the start of the most wonderful season of his career so far, voted Australia's Cyclist of the Year by the end of it. And he's sitting there watching to see who is making the moves. The last 5 kilometres, even up this climb, they've averaged nearly 41 kilometres an hour. And that's why they've cracked all of these riders at the back. It's still Geschke at the front.
I now see on the left-hand side Daryl Impey from Orica Greenedge moving up, and right behind him Simon Gerrans. There he is. They've done all the work all day, Orica Greenedge, and now it's Impey guiding Gerrans towards the front, just keeping him out of the wind, saving every ounce of energy to get ready for that final sprint up.
Yeah, the 2 riders who shared the yellow jersey over a period of 4 days in the Tour de France, Daryl Impey, Simon Gerrans. A marvellous few days for them and for Orica Greenedge a couple of years ago now. But now Impey will look to try and help him take the win. If he takes the win, it could really seal the race, because he's had such a good day on the seconds he's gained so far. He knows exactly what he needs to do. A little bit more sensible riding there right now at 2.8 kilometres to go.
Yeah, it's really not completely on yet, Phil, but we're just looking at Impey there. It shows you what a versatile rider he is. He led out the sprint yesterday for Caleb Ewan, and now today he's bringing Simon Gerrans up the climb. He can do it all, Impey.
He can. He's a great cyclist, and he's a very nice guy as well. Now, let's have a look. We've got Lamprey trying to get the average hour, 159 beats per minute for poor old Nathan Earl, yes. And, well, that's not a bad average, really. That's showing him having a reasonable good form just now, as Lamprey tried to get control. They've had the winner up here before.
Well, we've had a few different teams try and take control at the front on that fast downhill section. As they come to the roundabout, they split left and right. Riders jumping over the roundabout, trying to just maintain speed every little bit, not a touch of the brakes. That field is a lot smaller now, Phil, but expect it to split up even more as the riders start to head towards that final kilometre.
Well, Lamprey confident on the victory a couple of years ago, 2014, of Diego Ulissi. But at the moment gone a little bit quick here. He's actually slipped away from the field. Now he's become the carrot as the field continue. That's Salamutin's also at the front now, the champion of Estonia, seeing who's on his back wheel.
Well, that's David Tanner behind him, the young Australian, in very good form. So he is another guy who's capable of winning this sprint up to the line. He's quite fast, Tanner.
I was thinking that the team might have been working for Tanner earlier today. He's been showing good form. We'll see how he goes. As we now come into 1.4 kilometres to go. The champion of Estonia is in second place here. IAM Cycling are getting themselves in the picture as well. They've lost a rider today.
It looked to me like Michael Albacini was up there as well for Orica Greenedge, trying to help Simon Gerrans up towards the front. It's Albacini in about fourth position there, I'd say. A little bit further back, Impey with Gerrans in his wheel, about 10th, 12th position.
Well, for the most intelligent rider in this race is Simon Gerrans. Yeah, this is Movistar now trying to liven it all up. As I say, they won here last time out. They know this road, but I think they've realised that Lobato isn't in the mix. 1 kilometre to go as the attacks will throw. It's a false flat just before the finish. You have to judge this absolutely to perfection. Peter Kenyuk has made his move, the champion of the United Kingdom, and he's being chased here by Pim Ligtart, who is a very strong Dutch rider on Lotto. What a finish it would be. It would cap a great day for Lotto after Adam Hansen's attack.
Well, a well-timed move there by Kenyuk. He waited until the Movistar rider swung to the right, took the opportunity to race up the left-hand side and hit them hard. It's a very long way.
There's a crash. Astana's down. 2 Orica have gone down there. I think 2 Astana have gone down. Now that's disturbed the whole rhythm of the riders, as now it looks as though Tinkoff going to make the most of this if they can. I think it's wiped out. Kenyuk, yes it has, as he drops to the back now. Robbie, that's a great shame, but Cannondale might profit from this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Tinkoff riders up there too. There are 4 riders from Tinkoff in the first 5. A couple of Cannondales. Rowan Dennis is still there. I don't see a Richie Port. I don't see Simon Gerrans. I think that he may have hit the deck there. So all sorts of confusion here, Phil, with 300 metres to go.
Well, 2 Cannondale riders have got the front here. On the far right, we've got Rowan Dennis, but I'm not sure he can get through there. In the black helmet, he's going to try and go in the middle as they continue to race up towards the line. Now, this is going to be desperately close. It looks as though it might be Tanner who's going to push on, but no, Lamprey are going to steal this, or are they, as they come up to the line? Desperate moments. Dennis has got a good result. He makes it in 3rd place, but it's Ulissi again, I think, who got it, but Jay McCarthy may have pipped him right on the line, and that is McCarthy's finest ever result.
Well, what a win, Phil. Jay McCarthy, man in great form. First winner of 2016 up in Queensland in a criterium on New Year's Day, but this is what he's been chasing, a win at World Tour level. And I tell you what, you can just see the effort dripping off him literally there. Jay McCarthy.
Just have a look at this, Rob.
The Queenslander.
That is a big result for Jay. That's going to send him right to the top.
On the left-hand side here, and we're about to see a touch of wheels, and Astana riders come together with Daryl Impey. Impey's got gone down and Gerrans has gone straight over the top of Impey. So it was a tangle of handlebars by the looks of things between the Astana rider and Daryl Impey that's caused that crash. But when we look at the sprint, well, Jay McCarthy is hit out from quite a long way. Got a nice little gap to the rest. Rowan Dennis is in third position as we look down there. Ulysses, it looks to me, trying to come over the top like he did a year ago. And he gets right next to it. It's going to be a throw for the line deciding it. McCarthy is able to hold him off. It's an incredibly strong sprint from the distance he went out.
It was.
Dangling there in front of Ulysses.
This is another view of it here. I thought at this moment Ulysses was going to come over the top, and I think he did too. But a terrific lunge by Jay McCarthy. A terrific result for the rider from Tinkoff. The crash certainly prevented any move coming from Simon